Hello, Serious Survivor here, and today I want to talk about the cooperation between Russia and China and the aggression that we're seeing in the Pacific Ocean at this point in time. Friends, it seems like big government and tech giants are trying to destroy America. Everything they touch turns into a disaster. Pretty soon the whole system will fall apart, and the first thing to fail will be the food supply chain. So do you have enough emergency food to get through a serious long-term crisis where you can't get food at the grocery store? Most people don't, and they'll panic when the time comes. That's why the smart move now is to get long-term storage food before things go bad. I highly recommend My Patriot Supply. They've served millions of American families and have over 41,000 4- and 5-star reviews. Their mission is your survival, and right now you can save 25% on a 4-week kit of emergency food that will save the day, and probably soon. Order a starter kit for each member of your family and they'll ship everything quickly and discreetly to your door. Go to preparewithSeriousSurvivor.com so you can claim your 4-week emergency food kit and save 25% in the process. That's preparewithSeriousSurvivor.com. But I want to start off by talking about China. China is now building more than 100 nuclear missile silos in their desert. Analysts warned the expansion signified an alarming development, but also urged against worst-case thinking, noting that tension between major nuclear powers over, disarmament talks. On Thursday, it was reported that satellite images show the construction of at least 119 nuclear silos. And these silos are the right size and construction type to hold intercontinental ballistic missiles, and they've been identified in the Gansu province. The discovery of this was from researchers from the James Martin Center for Non-Proliferation Studies at the Middlebury Institute of International Studies, and they made this discovery through analysis of satellite photos provided by commercial company Planet. These are spread across 700 square miles. The site near Yumen includes the construction of underground bunkers, which may function as launch centers, cable trenches, roads, and small military bases. The features of these layouts, they mirror existing nuclear ballistic missile launch sites in Mongolia, suggesting China has built or is building at least 145 in total. We believe that China is expanding its nuclear forces in part to maintain a deterrent that can survive a U.S. first strike in sufficient numbers to defeat the U.S. missile defenses. And this is going to tie into something we're going to see here in just a minute. China is believed to have had about 350 nuclear warheads, which is about 30 more than last year. This is far fewer than the US or Russia, but one thing we have to take into account is this is the most modern technology compared to the majority of our and Russian nuclear weapons being developed in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. These are some very old nuclear weapons that are not as capable as the ones that we're seeing being developed today. In April, the head of US nuclear forces had warned of a quote, breathtaking expansion of Chinese nuclear capabilities. Now, the number of silos does not also always necessarily correlate with the number of missiles, with Lewis suggesting that it could be a shell game. And this is similar to what the U.S. designed and played in the 1970s. They called a shell game by developing multiple missile silos, but only implementing some of those to distract the enemy, basically. And this comes amid talks that China is actually participating in the financing and development of Iranian nuclear facilities, which is a different subject, but it does tie in together. Russia and China have just renewed bonds and are proudly speaking about the ties between the two countries, both economically and militarily. And this can be concerning when we look at two of the world's largest superpowers that are both making threatening moves, not just towards the U.S., but towards members of NATO and other countries in the world. When we couple this with the fact that a Russian spy ship has been spotted off the coast of Hawaii, and this spy ship was actually able to monitor the latest anti-missile test that was conducted near the Hawaiian Islands recently. Simultaneously, China is also moving its nuclear-capable submarines into the Pacific Ocean in an aggressive manner. Now, the Russian spy ship also caught on May 29th, the U.S. Department of Defense's Missile Defense Agency announced the failure of a missile defense system. Two Standard Missile-6 Dual-2 SM-6 air defense missiles did not take out a simulated medium-range ballistic missile as intended. The test, Flight Test Aegis Weapon System 31 Event 1, evolved a U.S. Navy ballistic missile defense-capable warship, likely a Ticonderoga-class cruiser or Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, shooting down the simulated missile. The Navy typically carries out ballistic missile defense tests in the Pacific at the Pacific Missile Range Facility, Barking Sands, or PMRF, which bills itself as the world's largest instrumented multi-environmental range capable of supporting surface, subsurface, air, and space operations simultaneously. There are over 1,100 square miles of underwater range at PMRF, as well as over 42,000 square miles of controlled airspace. Barking Sands is often the launch location for simulated enemy ground-launched missiles, with U.S. or Japanese destroyers parked downrange, ready to detect, track, and engage the missile. But the latest tests that were performed had failed, which shows that the missile defense system isn't quite what we want it to be. And this can be very concerning when we see other militaries building up their arsenals and developing missiles such as the hypersonic missiles and the new Doomsday nuclear missile that we're going to talk about in just a minute from Russia. And this is concerning because it doesn't take many missiles to get through when we talk about nuclear warheads to do a lot of damage, especially in that particular area of the world. The Hawaiian Islands consist of many different islands, but when we look at the range of these, it wouldn't take many nuclear missiles to literally completely wipe them out, which in turn would take out a large portion of our Pacific fleet. Recently, submarines have been a topic of discussion because new models of Chinese attack submarines and nuclear ballistic submarines have been appearing in Shanghai and also appearing in the Pacific Ocean. The Russian Navy launches a huge new special mission sub armed with a radiological Doomsday weapon. And this Doomsday weapon is believed to be a 100 megaton nuclear weapon. If we think back to the Russian test of the largest nuclear weapon that's ever been detonated on the surface or in the air above the Earth, and that was the Tsar Bomba that had a yield of 50 megatons. These new weapons having a yield of 100 megatons would be extremely damaging. And here we're going to look at an example. I'm using Nuke Map here just to basically show the type of damage that a 100 megaton missile would do. And if these Russian submarines are capable of carrying 10 of these, then that's 10 100 megaton nuclear warheads that are within 100 to 200 miles of Hawaii as we speak. So we're going to simulate an explosion here, and I am going to detonate at Honolulu a 100 megaton nuclear weapon. And as we detonate that, we see complete devastation. If we zoom out a little bit, then we'll see that basically this weapon is capable of taking out any and even all of the Hawaiian Islands. This is very concerning, considering that our latest air defense attacks have been failures, and these are some of the most advanced weapons in the world. If we can't even stop our own weapons, then we're going to have a difficult time stopping weapons that were designed by other countries, and they were designed recently with the most advanced technologies. So this is something that we really need to be aware of. And to put this in perspective, how large this explosion is, I'm going to clear the effects here, and we're going to look at the 1 megaton Minuteman that is in the U.S. arsenal, and it's one of the most common nuclear weapons that we have in our arsenal. And I'll detonate one of those in the same location that we're looking at right here, and we will see the range of this, how far it would impact. If we look here, it would be very devastating, but it is nowhere close to what we would be looking at with a 100 megaton nuclear weapon. So this is something that we need to keep an eye on. I'm going to be going much deeper into this. Just wanted to do a short video this morning looking at some of this, because this is a pretty serious situation and it's occurring right now. This is not something, if we think to the remarks of Vladimir Putin and to the remarks of China lately, they have been using the words nuclear arsenal and nuclear war quite a bit. Nuclear capabilities, things like that. This isn't something that we're just reaching really far on. This is something that's actually being thrown at us. When they're using nuclear submarines and operating near our coastlines, then this is not just something we need to worry about. This is an actual threat. So keep an eye on the channel. We're going to go a lot deeper in this. Going to have a live stream Friday night. Going to talk a lot more about this and be looking at a lot of different things in it. Thanks a lot for watching. God bless. For now, Serious Survivor, out.